Hi, it's Lala, and welcome to Beyond Unique. Here we are having another episode with me discussing self love and all of the things that surround self love. Today I am here at a park, such a beautiful park. As you can see, I don't know if you can see behind me, I found this lovely spot, which is absolutely gorgeous. Get to listen to all of the birds and enjoy the atmosphere. I had to take the opportunity today. It was so beautiful to come out here. And I said, you know what? Let me record a podcast. By this time, I have already posted my first podcast, so I know that will do well. And I know this is a topic that is beneficial to us all. So it will definitely reach the right ears. And so today, I wanted to go a little deeper into basically what has transpired to push me towards wanting to be a better version of myself. I have said before in another video that I found myself in a loop. And if you do not realize that you are stuck in a loop, meaning having the same experiences, and there are with the different people, or there are the same experiences finding, its way into your life years later, and it's just like, I got to a point where I had to realize that it's not other people. I think sometimes we get on that train of blaming others and not realizing you are the common denominator. But when you realize you are the common denominator, that means that you have to take accountability. And some people do not want to do that or feel like they need to. And that's where the breakdown begins. And you will find yourself in a vicious cycle until you change. And it's nothing that I've noticed that anyone, no amount of talking, no amount of podcasts, no amount of church, no amount of crying, until you are ready to change. How are you ready to change is the question. And if you are asking that question, I would say you are on the right track and you are in the right place, because I've been there. I had to realize that I had to change. And it was almost like I was forced, honestly, to be truthfully honest with you. For some people, it takes a lot of different bad experiences in order for them to finally get it. And unfortunately, I was that person. And, sometimes it takes people their whole life and to understand that, and they are on their deathbed when they realize it. And I just thank God that it didn't take that long for me. And I do also understand as well that it had to take as long as it did in order for me to fully get to this point where I am at now. I was so far in darkness that I thought walking with a flashlight every day of my life was normal. I thought being angry, being sad, talking down on myself. I've probably have talked myself out of so many things in my life because of fear and what others are going to think. And I will say, age does help, because when you get to a certain age, after all the things you have been through, you get to a point where you don't give a damn. You don't give a damn. And I'm going to say it just like that. And I guess it was a mix of that and a mix of, I'm tired. I am tired. I was tired of being tired. And one day I woke up literally and said, I am going to make a change. I don't know how, but I have to make a change. I started coming across different videos on social media and YouTube, and they all spoke to me. They spoke to my spirit. And I would definitely like to say that my mentor at this time is Abraham Hicks. And I found their teachings on social media, and then I transferred over to YouTube to find more. I had to find the whole video. I had to, the clips were great. They got me on the right start, but I had to go deeper because what they spoke, what Abraham Hicks spoke resonated with me more than any mentor, and not to put anybody else down, because honestly, in the past, if I was in the mindset of receiving, I probably would have received a lot more when it came to listening to others that were there to try to guide me. So after finding Abraham Hicks, I understood, but I didn't understand. So I found myself listening every day to the teachings. And basically, once I started receiving what Abraham Hicks was teaching, it clicked. And I just started applying it to my life. And I started seeing changes. And one of the main things that I changed was my negative self-talk. I did not realize that I didn't talk to myself so nicely. I didn't realize that I let other people's projections literally run my life. I was letting other people's opinions, I was letting my own fears run my life, and all of that brews chaos. And that's exactly what was going on inside. Even though it may not have been showing on the outside, it was definitely going on the inside. Once I started talking nicely to myself, it almost felt weird, to believe it or not, because I was so used to saying negative things, but not realizing they were negative things, and that your body listens to what you say, because in return, what you say can vibrationally affect your emotions, can affect you vibrationally and keep you in a low vibrational state. And I found myself being depressed quite often. 9 times out of 10, you want to be alone. You want to be away from people. And that is a form of going within. Except for going within, you are aligning with the answers and aligning with positivity and aligning with ways to become a better person. And sometimes that journey has to be done alone. The true work, I should say, has to be done alone. At some point in people's lives that want to make a change, and they all have that same concept, not that same thing that they do. I did notice that if you talk to others that say they have wit within themselves, they took that time where some people go traveling alone, some people just withdraw. And that is what is going within, a part of the process. No one can walk that path for you. In the beginning, it seems lonely, but then after a while, you see the benefits of being alone and working on yourself. You need that. You need that time. And that's the time that you are pouring in yourself. And the pouring in yourself does not ever stop. You should always pour into yourself. Do things that make you happy. Which brings me back to Abraham Hicks is one of the main things that is a part of the teachings, where we came here to earth to be happy, to experience all of the things, and we knew we were going to be faced with different contrast experiences. We knew that. We found it exciting, which I could kind of see me being like that, taking on something. But, we need those experiences to help us grow. If we don't have different experiences and different contrasts, we will not be able to expand, to grow, to evolve. And I'm so grateful for all of the things, all of the contrasts, all of the mistakes that I have made because it has brought me here. And this feeling is amazing. And I'm not going to say I never have, negative self-talk. It's very rare now because I know how to catch myself. And I've said before in different videos that takes a lot of practice and giving yourself grace and identifying, okay, I said this. Why? Why did I say it? And 9 times out of 10, okay, so let me think of an example that I can give you that's negative self-talk. Here's one. This podcast. I actually maybe 3 times almost talked myself out of this. And when I asked myself, why are you thinking like this? Why do you feel like you shouldn't launch this right now? All fall back on to what if others don't understand where I'm coming from? What if the podcast doesn't do well? What if? But then I turned it around and I said, okay, let's play devil's advocate here. What if you get the right people that's supposed to hear this come across your video or your podcast? What if this is another way of spreading the love, another way of contributing to mankind, to society? This is my contribution because every everybody's, eyes should be open to this philosophy, to this truth. I grew up not knowing if I was truly loved. And that's not, to talk about anybody that had any influence on my life when I was younger. But I grew up very sad. I was so sad. And I was so sad when I was a little girl that I would ask God, why am I here? I didn't understand why I was here. It just didn't make sense to me. I knew it had to be something better, or maybe it wasn't. And I guess I thought it was me. I really actually thought that I was like the only one that God hated. Can you believe it? And as time went on throughout my life and meeting different people, I started noticing a pattern. And everyone had a story. Everyone has a story. And when I realized that, I was just like, well, I guess life is supposed to be this way. Some people are just lucky. It's not about luck. We are the creators of our reality. We are the creators. That is something else that I also learned listening to Abraham Hicks. And I didn't understand creating my reality. Me? How is that possible? Because it seemed like everything was happening to me, right? And not realizing that it was happening for me. And if I would have had a more positive mindset, I would have known that everything was happening for. As I started talking to other people, like I said, and realizing that everybody has a story. Prior to finding Abraham Hicks, I had just gotten out of a relationship, and that relationship was, I would say, the straw that broke the camel's back. And it's no blaming. I would never blame. I can't blame. However, it was the tipping point for me. And I came across a Abraham Hicks video, and it was about love. And, somebody asking about a relationship that they had just gotten out of, and they were sad and just, wanted some guidance. And how she explained it so well made so much sense to me, because it's so many facets about it. But the main thing is that when you truly, truly, truly love yourself, you will understand that any type of relationship that you are a part of, whether romantic, friendship, family, boundaries is needed. self-love is needed and to understand that if the relationship is over, at least try to find something that you can learn from it to better yourself. And that's what I did. I chose to better myself so that I won't go through that ever again. Not only did I listen to Abraham Hicks, I also started my journey of meditation. That is something else that I added that I felt like that I know would assist me with bettering myself. And listening to Abraham Hicks, I found out that meditation is an opportunity to quiet your mind and to help set intentions for that day. And when I tried to meditate, it was difficult for me in the beginning. I can say that because it has a lot to do with quieting your mind and just being there and not thinking anything, concentrating on your breathing. And I'm up to 20 minutes now. I would love to meditate longer, but it does set my intentions for that day. And my intentions always is ease. That is my word. I want ease today. No matter what comes my way, ease is what I want, that feeling of ease, going with the flow. That's what my one word intention for the day that I use when I am in meditation. So I listened to Abraham Hicks. I started meditating and then I started the positive self-talk, which is very, very important. That is another thing that helps when it comes to thinking more positively. So I listen to affirmations daily when I wake up in the morning. If I found myself on a roll with negative thoughts, and how did I even catch myself with those negative thoughts? That's another thing, is catching yourself. And when you are thinking of something negative, you ever think back anything that you ever thought that was negative that you could think of right now? What type of feeling did that give you? That negative thing that you was thinking. When you're more in tune with yourself and have self-awareness, you can feel like if your hands are clenching, if your teeth are, clutched, or if you are shaking, with anger or frustration. All of those are your indicators that something is not right. This doesn't feel good. So when you think of happy things, you might even start daydreaming and smiling without even knowing. But it's those thoughts that's in your head. So that's how I started identifying that I'm thinking something negative. I was just like, I would be like, my God, I am so angry right now. Like, calm down, calm down. I will add a song by Janae Aiko. It is a sound bowl, high frequency vibration song. And it's called Calm Down. And I will attach it to the playlist. I may have already attached it to my YouTube playlist, but that is something that I listen to every single night that helped me calm my mind. And it helped with the emotions of feeling chaos and overwhelm and fear. I definitely listen to affirmations. I listen to affirmations as well every morning. I think I said that already. That is another thing. Another thing I did start doing is when I'm around my children and we are talking, it's almost like a game, but it's a very respectful game. I would also have my girls and I, when we have conversations, we tell each other, that was negative. And then it's like, okay, thank you for letting me know. I don't take it personal. I told them, don't ever take it personal. When we have our banter and we're talking and we catch each other. So now, it's just like you have to get in the habit of speaking nicely to yourself and catching yourself before you get to that place. Those are some of the things that I have been doing. I will definitely love to share more tips with you guys and just continue to discuss this journey with you. Thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. And remember, talk to yourself nicely. Talk to yourself nicely. Try to zone in on your emotions, feel your emotions. If you're not happy, 9 times out of 10, you're thinking something negative. So that is something those are things that can contribute to your self-love journey and process. And again, thank you for joining my podcast. This is Beyond Unique. You are unique, beyond unique. Be you. This is Lala. Until next time.